Welcome back again to Rinka's Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe that I'd like to share with you. It's a very simple recipe. It's called Hungarian Dumpling Soup, Gombóc Leves. And what you will need for this recipe is 5 medium white potatoes, 2 whole eggs, 2 to 3 cups of flour, 3 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika, 5 liters of water, 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening, 1 tablespoon of margarine, and 1 tablespoon of table salt, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make the dough mixture. So what I did was I peeled and washed and cut up potatoes into medium pieces, and I added 5 liters of water and 1 teaspoon of table salt to a large pot. And so I added the potatoes to the water and I cooked them until they were done. And so using a ladle with holes, I removed the potatoes from the water and placed them into a large mixing bowl like this one. And then I saved the water in the large pot from the potatoes. So I've got the large pot on the stove and I've saved that because that's the base of the soup. It's really important that you save that part of the soup. And so then I used a handheld masher and I finally mashed the potatoes into the large mixing bowl. So, and then I added the 1 tablespoon of margarine, 2 eggs, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt to the mashed potatoes. And so using a wooden spoon, I've stirred in the flour, the two cups of flour gradually, and then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kneading the dough together by hand, gently kneading it together. And I've just got an extra cup of flour here, added here, so that what you want to do is make the dough sort of a soft, non-sticky consistency to it, so it's not sticking to your hand. And then, of course, I've prepared the soup mixture. So I peeled and finely chopped 3 cloves of garlic, and using a large frying pan, I sautéed the garlic, and then what I did was I added some of the reserve liquid from the potatoes into the mixture. And then this has got the paprika in it, the 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika and the garlic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding that to the pot that's on the stove there. I'm going to add it to the remaining potato water. So I'm going to do that right now. And then I'm going to bring this to a mix it up. So the soup's going to have sort of a kind of like a red color to it. And then I'm going to mix that all together here like that. And I've got my approximately 5 liters of water. Of course, some of it will evaporate as your potatoes are cooking. So you want to make sure you've got about 5 liters of water there. So I've mixed that together, so I'm going to put it up on high heat, and I'm going to wait till that comes to a quick boil. And then I'm going to lower the temperature to a slow boil. And then I'm going to start making my dumplings. So when I come back, I'm going to show you how to make the dumplings, and I'm going to show you what the dough should look like before you actually put it into the boiling water. And the dumplings are going to cook inside the soup, and they're going to remain inside the soup, and that's how you're going to serve it after. So I'll be back to show you what this great recipe is going to begin to look like as soon as we start putting in the dumplings into the potato soup mixture. Welcome back again to Rinka's Kitchen. I had the dough prepared now, and I'd like to show you what the consistency should look like. So it should be sort of a non-sticky type dough. And I'm just going to put that aside, and I've put the dough together like that. And what I've done is I've rolled the dumplings about that size. So this should be the size of kind of like a small, sort of like almost like a ping pong ball, maybe even a little bit smaller than that. So I've rolled some out, pre-rolled them, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into the water, the potato water, and the paprika and the garlic. And of course the sea salt is in there, and the salt for cooking up the potatoes. So I'm going to put these start putting these into the water. So I'm just going to drop them in there, and they should rise to the top when they're done. And I've got approximately 5 liters of water here. Now, if you find that you want to add more salt to taste, it all depends on your taste for salt. You can add more garlic if you want. I've only used about 3 cloves of garlic, but if you like it nice and garlicky, and this tastes so amazing, like especially in a winter day when it's cold outside or it's rainy outside. You can make these as sort of like comfort food. My grandmother would make this for her family. To make it from potatoes. So I'm just going to roll it around like this. I'm going to tear off a piece from it, and then I'm just going to make form little balls, shapes of balls. And if your hands get really sticky, I have a little extra sort of bowl here so that the dough doesn't stick to it, but it shouldn't stick too badly. And then I'm just going to pre-roll them. And whatever leftover dough you have, you can put that aside, and you can cook some more up the next day or so. You can put some of the dough away and store it, and you can make some more Gombóc Leves. So there is extra dough here. Now, if you want to make a smaller batch of it, then you just use half the recipe, what the recipe calls for. But I made a whole bunch here. Make some extra. It does make a big pot of soup. You could actually freeze it, put it into freezer containers, and you can actually freeze it. You can warm it up in the microwave or thaw it out and warm it up in a pot. So it's up to you how you want to serve it. So my hands are getting it's getting a bit sticky, so I just dip my hands in some flour, and I've made up some more gombóc. So these are, gombóc means dumplings. So that's what you would do for next. And then what I'm going to do is when I've got the dumplings cooked, so they're going to rise to the top, I'm going to wait for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to keep the dumplings inside of the soup mixture, and then I'm going to serve it nice and hot. So when that's all ready, then I will show you what this great recipe looks like in a soup bowl, ready to eat. Welcome back again to Rinka's Kitchen. I've been preparing a very simple meal that my grandmother made for her family and my mom made for us during the cold winter months. It's a very hearty soup. It's very simple to make, and it's called Hungarian Dumpling Soup, Gombóc Leves. So I prepared the dough mixture and the soup mixture, and I had the soup cooking on the stove. I've had the dumplings cooking, so the soup is ready. So I've served it in the soup bowl, and I'd like to show you what this great recipe looks like. It smells great with the garlic and the sweet paprika. So what I did was I used about 3 tablespoons of sweet paprika. If you want to get a really nice red color to your soup, you should use about 3 tablespoons of paprika, and I've used 3 garlic cloves. If you want to use more, I've sort of added that to the ingredients of my recipe, that you can add 3 to 5 garlic cloves, finely chopped garlic cloves, and sauteed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what this great recipe looks like. So as you can see, there's the soup mixture, the potato water. So I've saved the water from the potatoes, and the potatoes cooked, and you should use white potatoes so that your dumplings will stay together. If you use any other type of potato, your dumplings won't stay together. They'll get sort of slushy and sort of very soft. So white potatoes is the best potatoes to use for this particular recipe. So this brings back memories of my mother when it was really cold outside, and we'd come home from school and she'd make up a pot of this soup for us, and the kitchen smelled just fantastic, and so we look forward to having this dumpling soup for supper. Of course, she prepared other main dish also, but this was our sort of like our starter kind of a dish, and then we would have our main course dish also. So this can also be served on its own, like for a lunch dish, or you can actually freeze the soup. If you have any leftover soup, you can put it into freezer safe containers, and you can serve it up the next day, or it keeps for a couple weeks in the freezer. So one thing I'd like to mention about the dumplings is that you make sure not to over knead the dough, as it becomes the dumplings become rubbery. So you want to really gently knead the dough together when you're putting the dough mixture together. So if you have any further comments or questions, please feel free to contact me at irene@arinkaskitchen.com or arinkaskitchen.com. Until next time, bon appetit, jo eet vadet.